Today's the sixth Sunday of the Pentecostal period, and there's seven because it's 50 days. So next week will be the Feast of the Pentecost on Sunday, and we'll have prostration prayers. And Pentecost is celebrating the descent of the Holy Spirit. But to have the descent of the Holy Spirit, we needed to have the ascension, because Christ said, I go to the Father, and I will send you the Comforter, or the Helper from on high. And so Christ goes to heaven and sits at the right hand of the Father so that he can send us power. He can send us the Holy Spirit. Today also happens to be the feast of the Lord's entry into Egypt. And we see that everywhere the Lord goes, and we spoke about this last week, things change. Something magnificent happens. Every interaction he has where someone lets him work with them, something amazing happens. He says, I go to heaven and I'm going to build mansions for you. Mansions, not just houses. He goes to Egypt. And by the way, he wasn't fleeing to Egypt. We say that he fled to Egypt, but he didn't need to flee from Herod. He could have killed Herod. He could have hid himself from Herod, the same way Moses was hidden, or the same way he hid himself from the Jews when they wanted to throw him off a cliff. But no, he wanted to go to Egypt to bless Egypt. And everywhere he went in Egypt, the idols fell. Everywhere that he stayed, things started to happen around him. His holiness was manifest. People were amazed. People said, this person is special. When we look at Jesus, do we see him in that light? Do we look at him in that way? We get so used to coming to church on Sunday and it becomes a routine. And we get used to just getting up and praying in the morning and praying at night. But is Jesus someone special? Does he have a special place in our heart? Does God the Father have a special place in our heart? We actually know that obviously when the Lord comes and manifests on the altar as the body and the blood, something magnificent should be happening here in Canberra. He has come to Canberra and he's blessed Canberra, just as he blessed Egypt. The idols should be falling down. People should be looking and saying, this is something magnificent. But we don't see that. Sometimes we are blinded by the things that we have on our mind, the things that we have on our heart. And today, with the ascension, it says he sits at the right hand of the Father. He sits on his throne. And we have that image there and here as well, where he's sitting on his throne. He's completed redemption. But we look for the resurrection of the dead and the life of the age to come, because we know that judgment is coming. And we say in the liturgy, he has appointed a day for recompense, on which he'll appear to judge the world in righteousness and give each one according to his deeds. What are the deeds that I give to God? How do I live my life so that as if God is something big in my life? Sometimes the way the Coptic Church teaches us to worship or to practice our faith is to do first and understand later. And that's what Jesus did with the disciples. He said, go get the donkey. Go, prepare the upper room. Go do this, go do that. And they didn't understand. And he gave them prophecies, but they didn't get it. And then afterwards, when they received the Holy Spirit, everything clicked. And they realized that the plan he had organized. He let the woman pour the oil upon his head, so that Judas would then say, that could have been sold for 300 denarii, and then go and sell him. Everything was planned. Everything was coordinated. Nothing happened by chance. So you being here today wasn't by chance. It was actually hard. Everyone who got up this morning would have seen the fog, would have looked at the temperature if you checked your phone and realized it was something like 2 degrees, and probably even struggled just to get out of bed because of how cold it was. But you're all here. So the fact that you're here means that you're seeking something. And today's gospel says, if you ask in my name, you will receive it. What is it that we need to ask for? What are we looking for? We say in the hymn of Afrikat Fetere, in the hymn of the Ascension, that long Coptic hymn that we said, that it's a joyous occasion, that we receive joy from God. His ascension into the heavens is full of joy. If I don't quite feel that joy, or I feel like the hymn is a drag, or I feel like the liturgy is very long, or sometimes it just gets too hard to read the Bible every day, I need to ask for God to give me that passion, to give me that zeal. I need to ask Him to inspire me, to give me motivation, to give me strength, because I am weak. We are all weak. But that's why we come here. We come here to the hospital to seek strength from the doctor. And God says, if you ask, I'll give you the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit will give you strength. The Holy Spirit will give you hope. The Holy Spirit will give you peace. And so when we have that mindset, that will frame everything. We might say, but the kids, it's too cold for the kids. I'll come a little bit later to the liturgy. But it's, too much church if I come Saturday night and Sunday morning. What about their studies? What about their well-being, their sports, their friends, our social gatherings? I'm not saying don't do any of these things, but why am I doing it? Am I doing it just for the sake of life in this world, or am I doing it for the life to come? Am I bringing my kids to church so that they can know God? Or am I bringing them so that they can have friends in a community? Frame everything that you do for that purpose. If you have issues in your marital relations, is it because we're looking at I want, or she wants, or he wants? What does God want from us both? When you shift that mindset, my concerns become less important because His concerns are more important. It's a mindset. So I encourage us all today that we would all look for the heavenly things, look up, just as the disciples looked up when He ascended, to look to the heavenly things rather than the issues that we face on earth. And glory be to God forever.